Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hello, my friends. By far, the greatest thing we can do for this world is that we make order in ourselves, that we connect with the essence, that we fill our body, our subtle body, with that divine light and radiate. This is especially now very important because there is like a cloud around the world that is pressing on people that tries to prevent us from doing just that. And everyone who is doing that, who even attempts to do so, does the best for oneself and also simultaneously the best for everybody else. I'm saying this in connection to a question from Matt, who had recently had quite an opening. And he tells me since then he has slowed down. He walks slower, moves slower, and yet gets things done. So his efficiency has not been reduced because of that. He feels more relaxed, and somewhere, somehow in the mind, there is a little doubt, but that being driven is missing. And on top of that, he thinks, he hopes that one day he can do something that is really helping also the world, helping other people. Although he likes his job, he's an electrician and he likes his job. Thinks he should do something more for the world. Well, to the first aspect, Matt, of not being driven, don't think that you are missing something. Just be alert. Of course, the tendency may be when we are not more so much intention to get somewhere, to become a bit lazy. But if we are alert, this is not happening. And then you can replace that sense of being driven just by a sincerity of bringing the attention back, no matter what you are doing, simply because it makes sense, simply because it feels good, simply because it responds to a longing, an urge that is in anyone to become fully aware of that divine essence. And basically, I already answered your question. That aspect about doing something that really helps the world. Go on with your job since you like it. Do it joyously. You can also be a floor sweeper, but if you do it joyously, if you fill your body with light, with love, with joyousness, and radiate it, then you're doing a great thing for the world. I'm not saying you never should do something else. If down the road somehow you just walk into an opportunity where you really feel from your heart, right, that is what I should do from now on. Then it's perfectly all right to change. But you need not now make yourself restless about looking out. What can I do? What good can I do? It's still that me personality who wants to do that. Be alert. Live your life in your new perspective, in your new awareness, and keep that alertness. Be awake in it, and then do your job, and be busy with your family, and have every day some time, which you anyhow doing, where you can withdraw, where you meditate. Every little act of kindness during the day is doing something to the world, is contributing something to the general consciousness. Every time you walk in a situation where there is a gloomy mood, where there is tension, where there is maybe anger, and you are capable to bring some joy and light into it, you are doing something for the world. It's not only that little space where it is happening, but it is adding something precious, beautiful to the common consciousness. The best, by far, the most powerful thing we can do for the world is to more and more be absorbed in that essence. Live the life from that perspective. Function from that perspective. Fill your instrument, your body, your subtle body with that purity, with that pure light, with that divinity, and radiate it. And then you are doing the most wonderful thing to everybody around and for the world. You need not do something particularly, especially great outside. If we do function like this, whatever we are doing is great. Okay, I leave that subject, but it's quite leaning onto the same question Mariano has asked. He can recently quite easily connect with the present, with that sense of presence, and yet somehow the experience is not getting deeper. It has been easier sometimes to go deeper, that there is a profound awareness of that, and somehow it seems these times it remains very superficial in spite of being in the now. Now, Mariano, you can just do what you can. Bring the attention back to that as much as you can. And then don't, with tension, try to get somewhere. But be aware, be alert in the present and relax. And in that relaxation, the attention sinks deeper. It has to do with what I said in the beginning. There is a cloud that is trying to prevent people from doing that. And because of that, it's very important that you continue and you don't worry how successful you are, how deep your experience is. You just continue, but you can consciously introduce that aspect more, that when you are in the now, with your attention, that you consciously relax on all the levels that may help you to go deeper, to have a pain more, that awareness of that sense of fulfillment that comes from being in conscious touch. Then you say, but then the desire is there for the experience, and there is basically nothing wrong. Simply don't make it the main point. I want to have a good meditation. I want to have a good experience. But of course, that longing is there to be completely conscious of that source, of that divine essence. There's nothing wrong. It's there, planted into consciousness in everybody, whether we are aware of it or not. Simply, if the thoughts are then going around, I want to have a better experience there, we can create an obstacle. Just connect as good as you can and relax in it. And that you can do whether you are meditating or whether you are active. As much as you can remember, always do that. Connect here now, timeless here now. Connect with that sense of being alive, of being conscious now, and relax in that. Everybody who is doing that is doing a great service to humanity. For there are forces who try to prevent us very much from doing that. And everybody who is doing that does the best for himself, herself, but is also making it a little bit easier for everybody else. In that way, we counteracting that current that wants to prevent us. So just continue. Don't think you are doing anything wrong, Mariano. Every attempt counts. Nothing is in vain. Nothing is lost. No matter whether you have then a successful experience or not, whether you have a good meditation or not, whether you are capable of staying with it for long or not, every attempt counts. It helps you, it helps those around you, and it's connected to the common consciousness of humanity and does something good. Okay, then I leave that. Now I come to another question, which is from Maria. She says, then we are told in Advaita, I'm not the mind. And then many different spiritual schools make a great emphasis that thoughts are very powerful and very important. Important that we take care of our thoughts, that they are not going in all directions, because they are very powerful. So that creates in her mind a bit of a contradiction, a dilemma. I'm not the mind, but then be very careful. What do you think? It's not really a contradiction at all. What is the mind? As long as we are thinking, we can talk about the mind. If we are not thinking, there is no mind. There's not such a thing, such an object like a mind. There is that beautiful capacity to form consciousness into reasonable thoughts. It's a tool that we should use where it's appropriate and then put aside where it's not appropriate. Unfortunately, we have grown up in a world where everybody thinks and thinks, and we also start thinking and thinking and thinking all the time where it's not appropriate, where it's not necessary at all. And that tool we can use very powerful if we put that attention in a certain direction. Maybe with a particular thought or a line of thoughts, excluding the other thoughts. Stop going left and right, then that creates a current. This is very helpful, can be very helpful. Of course, if it's with a bad intention, it can be very destructive. Unfortunately, that is also true. But if we are longing for freedom, then we can use the thoughts to put in the attention, put the attention in a right direction. It is that continuous thinking that keeps our worldview alive. If we never question, we can go on a lifelong just producing our own little world with our worldview, never being aware that actually most of it is our own mental projection. That there is a base, a common base, but then our world experience is very much locked into that little bubble where the thoughts go round and round and round. It's those thoughts, it's the mind that creates that sense of bondage, that sense of being limited. And there is the attention. So we have to catch the attention on that level. And then that same mind, that same capacity of thinking turned around is the one means to undo that sense of bondage. In reality, there is not bondage and there is no liberation. You are that always. Nothing can change that. But the experience feels pulled by the thoughts that go always in the same grooves, like we are very limited little beings. And as a manifestation, as a person, of course, it's a little being in a big world. But you are much more than this person. This person is just an aspect of you. It's just a role that you're playing. But as long as the attention is caught up in those personal thoughts and going round and round there, we creating that sense of separation, that sense of bondage, that sense of limitation, and the frustration and the pain and the suffering that comes along with it. It's that same mind that creates all that that can be used, that same capacity of forming consciousness into thoughts, into reasonable thoughts, meaningful thoughts. So we catch the attention and see what we are doing with our thoughts and learn to not do that anymore, but to think, to direct the attention with our thoughts, to think in another way, in a liberating way. So that same mind that creates the bondage is liberating. We cannot catch reality with our thoughts. We cannot grasp reality with our mind. You are prior to that, the thoughts cannot reach. But the thoughts can be powerfully used to turn our attention in the right direction. And that we can do all the time. it is a powerful force. You are not the thoughts, but the thoughts are an expression of you. You are not separate from the thoughts. This traditional Advaitic approach of negating, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I'm not the prana, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not. Neti, neti, neti. Doesn't mean all that is non-existence, doesn't mean all that is apart from us. For the body is an expression of yourself. The thoughts is an expression. The emotions is expressing yourself. But as long as we are so totally identified with them, then we are expressing that inner beauty very poorly. And consciously change that makes the thought very powerful to open up that little bubble and become more and more expansive. You are not those thoughts, but those thoughts are an expression of yourself. They are not apart from you. And as we have, after a long habit, directed the thoughts in such a way that we always feel so limited, so separate, we can make use of that power of the thoughts, of seeing that clearly and learning to think in other ways. Turning the attention in one way or another back to the source. Becoming more and more aware that there is something beautiful, something untouched, something magnificent. It is always there. The thoughts help us to bring the attention back home. Okay, then I'm also stopping with this subject. And I'm asking you, my friends, is there anyone who would like to say something? You're welcome to come in.
Hello, Werner.
Hello, Lila.
Yeah, you said so much now, interesting things. So I came with a question which is somehow connected also with thoughts. What I feel recently is everything collapses, all the opinions or things I think I know or other people know. They think they know, but I also feel they know. They talk like they know. And it's a mess. It's a mess. Right now, specifically, of course, in Israel, but I know not only in Israel, it's a mess. The more I hear, it's more of a mess of what's going on. And so I've been feeling the need to practice letting go of opinions, letting go of thoughts, of course. And then there's nothing to hold on to now. And specifically in times like we have now, it would have been great if there was something to hold on to. Maybe there would have been a king, a very clever king that everybody loves, and he would know what to do. And he could give us all a sense of security and all that. So then also it brings me to the question about communication or inner speech, or communication with other people. When I want to express my feelings, it's easy. It's pain, it's sadness, there isn't much to say about it. Everybody feels the same. So when I speak with a friend or with my sister, whoever, and then it like we go on, but there is like a feeling of emptiness, not pleasant emptiness. And we want to be somehow, I want to be somehow connected with people. But there's nothing to say. I mean, yeah, nobody understands.
Right.
And it's also been, it still is such a shock. And here, specifically where I live, where I hear some days, it's really horrible what we hear about, specifically what goes on in Gaza. And that is, what can I say, in real time, horrible, simply.
Yes.
Horrible, horrible. Yes. And there's no way that I can just hear it and say, it's just a noise. It's a noise of killing. It's a noise of war. It's a noise of hatred, separating, anything like that. And that makes me already now very sad. So there are days when I walk, when it's really intensive here, then the sadness and the pain are impossible to bear. Yeah. So I don't really have a question, but just like,
Right.
I know you can.
It looks impossible to bear, but then you still are here. You still bear it. It's just enormous. And in the midst of that, more and more you become aware there is an aspect that is not affected.
Yeah.
That's how you are surviving, the way you are surviving. But then you expressed it's hopeless to try to communicate that to people, and you would like to communicate, and then there is not that communication which you like. But actually, if you communicate with people in that situation, most of the time they just want to talk and they are very happy if you're just listening. And if you can somehow, while doing so, connect with that aspect that is not affected, then actually they are being influenced. It's like they are getting a relief just talking, even if the talk doesn't make much sense. Just talking and connecting, and there you connect with yourself, you connect with the essence, and then they also get something of that. You don't have to try to explain to somebody who is not ready to hear that you can connect with an aspect that is not affected. And if they don't want to hear it, they will throw stones at you.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, but you can do it while you are connecting. You can connect with yourself while you are connecting with them. And then even if the speech, the talk remains very superficial, something else is happening very strongly.
Probably. But I wonder, because I know like two people, a friend and my sister, when they talk and then they go on and on and on, and they move from subject to subject without finishing the first subject. Like one word can take them to something else, and it's very tiring. But then I actually stop them I ask them to stick to what they have started to say. So I guess it's maybe the same as you're describing, but then I have to take an action because they talk, yeah, they just talk.
Yes,
And
that's all right.
as
You
if,
can do so. Simply, right. Don't expect something has to come first from the connection with whoever you're talking to. Connect with yourself.
okay.
And then something flows from you, and that brings something in the connection with the person that you are communicating with. And there you can still, of course, you can direct the conversation a bit. If it's too much going in all directions, you can direct it a bit in a reasonable channel. But the more you are self-aware, the more something much more profound is happening than simply the conversation that is going on.
So what is it actually the same will work also to the with the inner speech? Because sometimes also I get a bit what would be the word, like yeah, I believe myself and then I go into thoughts. And also there is the poor me, of course, often nowadays. So I guess it's the same.
It's the same,
Yeah, it's the same.
whether you
Yeah,
talk to Lila or to somebody else.
yeah, yeah. Or listen to Lila and to somebody else. Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah. Okay. I'm happy you agree with my description about what's going on. And yeah,
Right, you're right. I mean, if you look out and see what's going on, you're right, it's horrible. And in this situation, it's even much more imperative, it's necessary that we are not getting lost in that, because otherwise we are getting crushed. If we are just seeing that aspect and identifying with that, then it pulls people in a hopelessness, in a depression. It doesn't something very destructive, but in midst of that you can connect and be aware. There is that ground, there is that center that is not affected. There is the joyousness of existence that is not affected in spite of what is happening. Connect with that as good as you can, and then it will flow through you and help those who connect with you.
yeah. There is also something else you mentioned, and also I am occupied with that too. This period actually, I don't have to do important things. And anyway, when I said some time ago that I feel this, I have this experience of beyond radical acceptance, and you said something about learning to die, and I took it like I feel maybe learning to die maybe it's part of it is I don't have to do important things. It's okay. I'm not so important anyway. And just do whatever sometimes because it's difficult to concentrate now. And then, I can play maybe games on my cell phone and just like take it easy. Take it easy.
Yes, you don't have to do important things, but actually, the most important thing you can do is doing just what I said to do. To connect, to be, no matter what is happening, in touch with your source. And then actually, that's the greatest thing that you can do for yourself and for everybody else.
Yeah, that's deep. I have to think, yeah, because this is not really doing, but yes, yeah, that's deep. Yeah.
Okay. Hariom. Hariom.
Hariom. Hariom.
Is there anybody else who would like to come? You're welcome to come in. Neighbor is spraying his newly planted rice. There is a field just beside our house. I hope he's not coming over here because otherwise it will become impossible to discuss because I will not hear anything that you are saying. Anyone? Anyhow, is anyone interested in saying something? I see a camera on. Would you like to say something?
Hi.
Hello?
Yes, you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So Lila invited me, and we are in the same country. I maybe something a little bit similar about how to talk with people, because there is a lot of confusion and difficult emotions and
Now I can see you better.
yes, very difficult emotions, and it's hard to all these arguments, and people get hurt and people are angry, and this is very difficult, and even what to do in this situation. That is looking a little bit hopeless. Yeah. Just yesterday I talked with my brother, and he said some horrible things, actually.
Yeah.
It's even hard to say. Just horrible things. And he says that they all hate us and these things. And so I told him that he's full of hate himself.
Yeah.
You know, his eyes are and all this, and so to be in this situation, you know, it's just I'm not sure what to do, how to do, and
Yeah.
how to talk, how to be silent, and whatever I do is like it's very difficult.
I mean, sadness will come in a situation like this. It's bound to come, and you don't have to fight against sadness. It's an emotion, and if we don't let the sadness pull us into a dark space of feeling sorry for ourselves, if we don't slip into self-pity, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with experiencing sadness in a situation like this. And then when you talk to somebody like your father or anybody who is very destructive in what they are saying, and you see, instead of helping anything in the situation, it just makes it worse. Usually it is no use to try to tell them like this, because if one is in that current, then if you try to tell them, they just block it completely and get more angry instead of less angry. But you can dare the same thing that I said to Lila. Try not to get sucked into that emotion on that level. Try to see for yourself at that moment, if you can remember, if you have that presence of mind, try to see what it is doing at that moment to your experience, at that moment, what is happening to you, how your body is reacting, how your energy is reacting. And then you see the tensions that has the tendency to build up, and if you can relax at least to some degree, actually the person opposite who is full of hatred and shouts it out and talks like this has not more a target to hit onto, and slowly that may also subside in them. But you cannot persuade them to think better. It doesn't work. But you can at least make sure that you are not getting sucked in that same current or start to oppose and then argue, and then there is just one more fight there. And many times in the situation we will forget and not be capable of doing what I said now, but then be taken in to the situation. But after that, when the situation is over, the tendency is that we just keep it on in the mind and turn it around and round and round and argue, continue arguing even when externally the argue is finished. And when you catch yourself doing that, at least at that moment, you become aware, oh, there I'm doing it again, there I'm going on. Instead of that, let me turn around my attention and see how it is affecting, how that has affected my experience, that argument, and how it is affecting my experience now that I keep that argument up in my mind. See how it is affecting the body, see how it is affecting the energy, and start to relax consciously on that level. And then you take the base that is that keeps this kind of emotions and thoughts alive, you take it away, and gradually they will subside by themselves. There is not a golden rule how to think in the situation that is happening. The golden rule is to learn to be aware of that which is prior to the thoughts. And the more you can connect with that, the more then your thoughts, your actions will spring up spontaneously and bring something creative in the whole mess.
Okay. This is painful, and just to let people shut up, like close my mouth. Yes, but okay.
I mean, sometimes it's perfectly all right that you say what you feel like saying,
Okay.
but you can feel whether it's worth the trouble or whether it's just throwing more oil in the fire and making it worse.
Okay.
And even if it got you, and even if you did just throw more oil in the fire, after that, when it still reverberates, when it still goes on, when the situation is already gone, there you can say, it doesn't matter whether I'm right or wrong. It's not about right or wrong. It matters that I'm not keeping up the tension and the fight in my own self, but turn the attention to my aspect, to that aspect where there is peace, no matter what is happening. Bring the attention back home to that and learn to live from that perspective more and more and more. And then your life, no matter what is happening, becomes more peaceful, more harmonious, and actually you're radiating something that helps others to make it also easier to live like that.
So to the peace, not to the place of the pain. To the peace,
Sometimes,
not to the. Yeah. Okay.
sometimes the pain is overwhelming, then don't fight the pain, but
Okay.
just be aware of the pain And if we are not resisting and relaxed, then that very acceptance of the pain will bring you back to that state, to that place of peace. If we
Okay, thanks.
if we resist the circumstances, think no, 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 shouldn't be like this. And of course, one has all the right to feel like this when there is just a horror going on. To feel it shouldn't be like this, it shouldn't be like this, but that resistance is creating a tremendous tension that prevents us from connecting consciously with that peaceful place. We don't have to try to do a mental trick and somehow say, no, no, everything is all right. No, it's not all right. But we can accept that it is as it is. And in spite of that, there is something in you that is not affected. Come back home to that space of peace in yourself. And then actually you are doing something about it. You are helping to change the energy, that there is a possibility that outside also it can go in a better direction.
Okay.
Shall we leave it at this?
Yes, thanks.
Hari Om. Hari Om. I wish you well.
Thanks.
Is there anybody else who would like to say something? I'm aware that what I'm saying may be not an easy task. As long as things are nice and easy and harmonious outside, one is more quickly ready to consider, okay, I'll try to find that space of peace in myself. If things are not nice and not harmonious and downright horrible all around, then the idea of come back to the peaceful ground. I don't know how much I have the background temper on to some extent. I hope you can still hear me, that when I talk that the other noise goes in the background, because here it's very loud now. Anyhow, in spite of that noise, let's go to that space of peace. The mind is easier, more quicker, ready to consider, to connect with that as long as it's harmonious and peaceful around. But if there are just tragedy after tragedy, if there is hatred, if we see that there's so much destruction and destructive emotions, then if we say to go to that space of peace that is prior to all that, then something in the mind has the tendency, hey, no, 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 no. How can we do that? It's not time to do that. But actually, it's exactly the time to do that. And in spite of all the resistance on the level of the personality that says, no, 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 it's too horrible, then if we can bypass these personal reactions and still turn the attention back to the source, that intensity of the situation will drive your attention even much deeper. In that way, you are not being then destroyed by what is happening. You are not being smashed by what is going on. You can get, instead of cut to pieces, you can get stronger in the situation, and actually you become like a lighthouse. You become like some source of power that radiates, and people around, they are being affected by it even if they are not aware of it. If we do so, then somebody else may also be inspired to do so more. And the more people are doing so, the more powerful this force is there that is counteracting destructive actions that are going on, horrors that are going on. The personality is always ready to find 100 reasons and say yes, but, yes, but, yes, but. Holding on to ideas like I'm right, if they are wrong. Holding on to ideas like this is just too bad, it shouldn't be like this, something drastic has to be done. And then wanting to just bring more destruction in the world like that. If one can give a helping hand in a difficult situation, then this is great. And we can certainly give many helping hands in such situations. And every, as I said right in the beginning, when I was talking with Matt, every little act of kindness is doing much more than just that little situation. It's sending a signal in the common consciousness that even in this situation it's possible. Let that giant light shine through us. That light of existence. I call it light. It's beyond light and darkness, but light is opening up the attention towards vastness. That light of existence can shine through no matter what the situation. It's a it's a great opportunity for every individual to make use of that intensity and go that much deeper into their own resources. That's what we are here for. That's why we came here. To learn, to grow, to get richer, for the experience. To be capable to get so strong that even in adverse situations, you are capable to connect with the essence. That beauty of existence that is always there, that is prior to manifestation. And then when in manifestation there is disharmony, there is destruction, it's still there, unaffected. That we learn to be connected consciously with that, no matter what. That's part of the reason why we came here. It's good to remember, and especially in very difficult situations, it's good to remember. I'm asking again you, my friends. Is there anyone who would like to say something? You're welcome.
I have a question regarding what you said and what have been said until now about opinions and knowing.
Mhm.
I was just wondering if having opinions and having the sense that I know things protect me from going deeper, from first protect me from connecting to emotions, difficult emotions. So I arrange the magic show, I arrange it somehow
Yeah.
so I know, so I have the illusion that I know. And also mm, to connect to what you say, what we can do is to connect to the essential being. Um, is there a lot of letting go there, which maybe we don't want to do?
It's not really the opinions themselves that prevent you from connecting, but then you are getting very attached to those opinions and self-importance and I know, me. There is absolutely nothing wrong with informing yourself. Sometimes knowing things can help you to prevent to get into more troublesome situations, but then not get into the fight of opinions. You can have opinions about anything as long as I'm not clinging to it and it becomes a matter of importance that I can not only for myself have that opinion, but make others understand, reason, and that they can shift and come to my opinion. If you are not getting down that road, then those opinions, they are no problem. The problem is that I'm getting self-important about the opinions. I mean, it's good to know certain things. It's good to know certain things in order to adjust your practical life. We don't have to somehow push that useful knowledge away. And we can be open to information that is not necessarily uh, in the mass, the most valued information, because there a lot of misinformation is there that is directing people. It's not bad to inform oneself, and there one can have one's own opinions about it, but it doesn't have to become the important thing. It's simply in order to deal with the practical level easier and not prevent us from going deeper into our own resources. It's not you ask whether those opinions prevent us. No, it's not the opinion itself. Simply, if I'm hooking into them and get all self-importance, and then it becomes a matter of pride that I'm right and please understand I'm right, and trying to get that through to other people.
And what about what I said also about difficult emotions, like talking and talking and expressing my opinions and discussing it with another person, and they say so, and they say so, and then it takes me away somehow from actually the very simple, intimate emotions that are nowadays are difficult and challenging to be with. What, can I just like, it's difficult to just sit. Sometimes I just sit and cry, or I become very, very, I feel the pain in my body, pain of other people in my body. And then it's somehow better to pick up the phone and talk to someone. and discuss the situation, but there's nothing to discuss.
Yeah. But people like to discuss, and if you connect with them, then just don't get into the fight of opinions. If you see that you have ideas and they don't agree at all with your ideas, and you see it's hopeless that they are not going to change their opinion, then simply let them have their own opinion and connect with your essence, connect with their essence, and not so much with the little mental differences.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
As you have the right to have your opinions, they have the right to have other opinions. Even if you think their opinions are wrong, so what? Their essence is not affected by that. If you connect with your essence, you connect more and more with their essence, and then the exchange of opinions can be in a friendly way and be enriching even, or even if it has not the quality of getting enriching or is not friendly, if you connect with this, then it's not affecting you. You can express your opinion, but you don't have to become self-important and I'm right, I'm right, I'm right. You must understand it. If you want to say something and they cannot see your standpoint, then so be it.
Yeah.
Can you
That's
hear
a
me?
lesson.
Can you hear me?
So. Sometimes it go far and sometimes it's okay.
I tried to tell him to stop. Well, he's not agreeing to stop. So, but he soon will be a bit further away. So be it.
Yes, I understand what you're saying, Werner. I think it's something to practice nowadays for many people here, because the situation is so complex. And there is no point, really. There is no point. I mean, for myself, I feel I should be able to practice what you are telling us rather than trying to understand or discuss or, and just be with my emotions and go through.
And then you can be with people and you can talk and you can discuss and you can exchange opinions. And you don't forget about that which matters most.
Okay.
Even the attempt is doing something very good.
Even the
Sometimes
what?
the attempt, even trying to do so.
Yeah, attempt, yeah.
Sometimes we may be successful, sometimes we may not be successful. But just having that basic idea in that direction is already doing something very precious. And attempting to do so, and the more we are attempting, then gradually the easier it becomes.
Yeah, that's very empowering. Thank you. I may have to leave earlier, so I'll just if I leave earlier, that's because I have I have to go someplace.
Yes.
Okay.
Hariom, Hariom, Hariom. So he's getting a bit further away. Is by now somebody there who would like to say something? Now we can start to communicate again a bit easier. Seems today, even when we can talk, we just want me to continue to talk. Coming back to the basic, same subject over and over. This manifestation is temporary. This world is not as real as it appears. On its own level, it has its own reality. On its own level, it seems to be real. But actually, that's also the same when we are dreaming in the night. We go to sleep and there a dream springs up. And as long as the dream lasts, then whatever we are experiencing seems to be real. And we wake up and say, oh, it wasn't real. It was just a dream. It was real as an experience, as long as it lasted. And this world experience is somewhat the same. It's not as real as we think. Once we get out of this world, oh, what a nightmare it was, what a dream it was, what a story. When we are in the midst of it, we take everything for so solid and so real. And as long as we are doing that, then we forgetting actually the purpose why we are here. We came into this magic show, appearing in this world in a human form, to have the opportunity to become more powerfully aware of the essence. It's not that we somehow have to change the essence. The essence is the essence and is what it is. We can become aware of the essence, sometimes glimpses, and then try again, and there are glimpses again, and then we can get rooted, not lose that touch. But then the experience of that still keeps on unfolding, becoming more powerful, more expansive, more joyous, continuously, and there is no end to it. Going through this human experience is very much a help to speed up that process of expanding. That's what we came here for, and it's good to remember, no matter what is happening. Sometimes it's nice and beautiful and harmonious, and sometimes it's very offensive, and sometimes it's downright destructive, obviously. Our role that we are playing in it depends the circumstances, and it's always a very beneficial aspect if we can bring something of that inner beauty in the circumstances. This is part of that experience, part of how we become more profoundly self-aware. how that experience of the essence is getting stronger and more powerful. Because there is no contradiction of not taking this world so serious because it's not as real as it appears, but then on the level, on the relative level, we can do what we can to turn it into something more beautiful, something more harmonious. Every attempt to do so is helping that level to become more beautiful, to become more harmonious. At the same time, it's driving the attention deeper into the resources. For then we are not sticking to that identification with that little me personality that we have developed in order to connect on this level. So the personality basically is nothing wrong. We don't have to kill it. Simply be aware that's not what I am. It's just a role that I'm playing. And every step that is transcending the little personal interests is helping the attention to connect stronger with the essence. So to do something that is helpful, harmonious, to improve the situation is not in any way a contradiction to not taking the whole damn story so serious, being aware it's not as real as it is, being aware that it's just an opportunity that we have to learn to grow, to outgrow certain things, to become more expansive in that experience of the essence. These two go hand in hand. Because sometimes some people also ask me, but why all this care about this world and try to turn it into a better place? We have to go beyond it. The reality is beyond. We are beyond. You, the essence, is pure, unaffected, unblemished by whatever is happening. And yet, a part of it has still projected into this world of duality, into this world of opposites, going through the game. Why? To have confrontations, to have opportunities, to learn to become more powerfully rooted in that awareness of that divine essence. And every situation can be used to do exactly that. Let us intend to live like that and renew that intent every day. And the more we live like that, the more it is a benefit, a little miracle, a little ray of hope for all the other consciousnesses, for all the other individuals that are also somehow trapped into this magic show and have forgotten what they are here for. It makes it easier for them to become aware. Hey, it's not as real as it appears. There is something that is prior to that, that is still there during that experience, that is there when that experience goes, and that's full of joyousness. Natural joyousness of existence that doesn't have to be produced. And we are here to grow, to become stronger, to expand in that experience. I wish you all well. Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om.